Hello, Warframe Syndicate fans. Thank you for tuning in to another one of our videos. The first little half of my video, I don't know what happened, went missing, but here I'll just reiterate what I said. The video you're watching will be about how to mod frames, how to mod weapons, kubrows, sentinals, how to mod based on crit versus status, when it's a good time to use health mods over armor mods, over shield mods, you know, um, also how to fuse mods together, and when it's better to use fusion cores versus spare mods. Thank you for watching. With other redirections, you choose your one that you got the most ranks into first. If you do not, you'll mess stuff up. It'll end up not being as high, and I've never personally done it, so I'm not 100% that it'll mess it up, but it's just better to make a habit of choosing the one that you have the most rank into and sticking with that. So then you're going to go over to your duplicates and look for your other duplicates of redirection. That's for a sentinel. So what I do is I go down, reorder it to duplicates, and then I scroll over to my redirections, which I might not have any because I usually dump a lot of extra mods into, there they are, into other things. Alright, so you can select all your redirections, and it moves it up that tiny little bit. It would do more if your redirection was not as high, ranked up as mine. And that takes 7,000 credits, which is not that much. But the best way to rank things up is not to use extra mods, especially when you get up in the higher ranks. When you're in the lower ranks of it, that 25 redirections would get it to, heck, let me see. I will show you how much it does if you're ranking up lower mods, which you usually will when you first start out. So let's try it with a pressure point. See, I can go throw in these other 28 pressure points and almost max it out. So it's just, when they're lower ranks, yeah, it'll work that way. Once you get in the higher ones though, it just ends up costing more credits than it's worth. The best way to rank mods up would be to use what's called fusion cores. Now I'll show you here redirection, an example of throwing other redirections in. It gets it up to rank 5, so that would be good. But once you're over ranked 5, it's best to go over to your fusion cores, which are right here. And then you dump all these in here, and here we go. We've got almost the max rank redirection just from those. And a bunch of credits. So watch your credits when you're modding, guys. You would be surprised how quickly it is to run out of credits. Now, one thing I'd like to point out, which, a lot of people didn't notice right away, are these Warframe mods that take only 3 ranks. I will pull one up for example, like these augment mods. A lot of people go, oh, 3 ranks? Well, here's my fusion cores, and it's only going to take 3 gold cores, so let's dump 3 gold cores in there and call it a day. No. If you put 2 gold cores in there, it almost ranks it up all the way. So it's better to throw in like 4 little bronze ones, or 2 of the silver ones, because they're all more common than your golds. So hold on to your golds and make sure you check that it's not something, you're wasting basically 1 whole core for half a little rank. It's just not worth it. Alright. So how to properly mod a Warframe. I will switch to mag here just because that's a frame that some people choose as a starter. So I do not have regular mag, so you're just gonna have to deal with my Cortana E mag prime. But it's still the same idea. So, first thing you want to start out with is an aura mod. Now, these come up in alerts, and you can get them from people in trading. Do not pay a ton of platinum for these mods. Most people will give them away for like 5 or 10 platinum. Don't pay 30, 40 plat for these things. It's not worth it. Just wait and be patient and find somebody else that's actually offering it for the price it should be. So I'm going to take my steel charge, which gives me more melee damage, and put it on my mag. Up there's the aura slot. And you want to max those out as fast as possible because they give you extra space on your frames for more more mods. Rifle amp does more damage with rifles. A good one to always make sure you kind of get is energy siphon and rejuve, especially for you newer players. You're gonna need it. So let's look over here. Now, Mag, she's one of those frames that has only 65 armor, so putting steel fiber on her is not very useful. Even with a max steel fiber, she's only gonna get 136 armor. That's not worth using a whole space for. So the best thing to do is she has 450, that's power, my bad, 150 health. No, 300 health. Sorry, she's sitting in my way. 450 shield. So she takes a lot of shield. So redirection is a very good mod to put on her, and it goes up to 990. Now she has 300 health on her own, and you know, starting out, you know, players are going to need that health, and that goes up to 740. Now that is a max vitality. With a lower vitality, you'll probably get, I don't know, say 500. Now, another mod, you kind of have to look at what your Warframe needs by going over here. You hit right trigger to go to abilities, and you see that she needs damage mods, and some of her stuff runs on duration, so you'll need duration mods, and her stuff needs range. So you sometimes have to figure what's more important to you. Do you want more range? You want more damage? Or, I mean, power strength, or do you want more duration? You can usually get a decent bit if you're not using corruptive mods. When you start using corrupted mods, which are these that have a negative thing, it takes away from your duration. So it's basically, I did not mean to go there, basically a balancing game. So let's go ahead and give her this duration for her bullet attractor. You're going to need a flow to give her more energy. Now, if you don't have a prime flow, that's fine. Use a regular flow. The same goes with continuity. Choose regular continuity. These two drop a lot in towers, so go run Tower 1 missions and look for all the crates. And mods usually drop out of crates, and they'll drop, you know, from enemies. But most of your crates is where you get the gold mods, not so much enemies. Enemies usually drop just random stuff that you don't need a lot of. Anyway, see, this gives me more efficiency with Mag. But since I don't use her first ability a bunch, I don't need as much efficiency. But for just trying it out, let's see what it does for her duration. Yeah, see, she loses a lot of duration, so I won't keep that on there. So basically, a lot of modding is adding it on and then checking how it's going against your playstyle. You don't want stuff modded just because some other person uses it that way. You need to mod to your playstyle. See, to get more efficiency, you would put on a streamline. Streamline's good for all frames. You're always going to need streamline, and you're always going to need flow. So without getting too many like rare mods on there. Natural talent's one thing that drops for a lot of frames. I mean, a lot of earlier missions. You use that to basically cut down on the animation time. It speeds the animation up and makes the power go faster, which is useful if you're spamming abilities. So let's give her some stretch for some range. And for this other dash, I guess I'm gonna just,
Maybe Constitution.
You think Constitution? I think I would want a little bit more efficiency than a little bit more duration. So it's basically just your play style. You know, see, I come here, I have a lot of damage. I have a decent amount of duration for that bullet attractor. She only has one ability that runs off duration, and sometimes if it's only one ability and her other abilities are really good, you sometimes just want to sacrifice some duration for power strength or for efficiency. You can always cast again. Now, if all their abilities run off of time, duration mods, then you will want more duration, but it's only one with her, and personally, I don't feel the need to have a bunch on her. Now, for a frame to use as an example, let me just use regular Saren here. To use it as an example for one who does not need a shield mod. See over here, I have on, let me just do another tab. Over here, I have her base health, her base shields, her base armor, her base everything. Now her shield's 300, which is pretty good, but you can get so much more armor with her than shields that sometimes it's better to give that shield slot to more power strength, which is what most people do. And 925 health, yeah, I can throw on her shields. That gives me 660 shields. But as you climb higher in Warframe and meet new enemies, like Slash goes straight through shields, Toxin will go straight through shields, that Puncture proc ticks right through shields. It's just really, shields become not as useful as adding more armor. Now, if you have an armored agility, you can give her even more armor and some more sprint speed, and that's up to you. I personally hardly ever use that mod, but if you want more armor, but that's just an example of a frame that you don't really need shields on. Sometimes it's just better to look at how much they get from the steel fiber versus how much shields they get, since so many things cut straight through shields. Alright, now weapon, here we have modded to have a bunch of status chance. Now, I can get this a crit weapon, but to get it a crit weapon would take a bunch of crit mods, taken away from some damage, and, you know, 15% crit is okay, but you would want it more like 25, kind of how the status chance is. So, when you put on multi-shots and split chamber and things like that, every multi-shot mod will increase your status chance. And it also increases all your base damage. So, and if you're lucky enough to have these mods, like Toxic Barrage. Now, Vor drops this in Tower 4 missions. He drops all the status chance plus damage mods. So see, we have, this gives toxin damage and status chance. Shell Shock gives electricity plus status chance. Frigid Blast gives cold and status chance. Scattering Inferno gives heat damage and status chance, and these are good for building different damage types. If you look over on the far left, underneath where the slash is, that little box right there tells you different things about mods and how to mod it. And every once in a while it'll pop up saying, hey, this and this make this type of damage. So for high status chance mods, it's high status chance weapons, it's good to find these mods that give you the status chance plus the damage. Now if I go and mix this heat with this toxin, it's going to give me gas, which is good against infested, and it kind of messes with Grenier. But your basic things that you're going to like a lot are your corrosives and your virals. Now to get Frigid Blast, that comes out of spy missions from the vaults. And you might have to farm it a bit, but it will drop. Toxic Barrage, as I said, drops from Vor. Every toxin damage mod plus status chance drops from Vor. Now these other ones you'll have to look around. Shell Shock dropped in the event that we had recently. As for somewhere else to get it, I'm not sure. Scattering Inferno, I can't remember if that's an event or not. Just kind of Google it. You know, this is a how-to mod, not where to find video. Now your base damage mods are always good to have on your weapons, because that's going to raise all your damage. You know, that's just all damage. It doesn't just do slash, it doesn't just do impact, it doesn't just do puncture. It even raises my viral damage. Now, when you start adding other mods, you want to start looking at your slash, your puncture, and your impact. Okay, this weapon does a ton of slash, so I'm going to want to put on a slash mod. As soon as I find it. Alright, Sweeping Serration. That's an event mod. You might not have it. If you don't have it, there is a brownish bronze mod that does the same thing. So, another important thing about modding is you want to match the little symbol at the top right of the mod with the little polarity slot on the weapon, if it has it. Not all weapons have them, some do. Once you max a weapon out, you can click down the stick and add a polarity, but make sure you understand exactly how you want to mod your weapon before adding in random polarities. I can add more cold damage to get my viral up in this little thing, this little Vazarin polarity, and you can change polarities. If I don't want that Vazarin polarity, which came on the gun standard, I can change it to something else just by forming it. Now, forming it does, or polarization, which requires a forma, takes your weapon back down to 0. So you have to build it all back up again. But in my opinion, it seems to go faster, but that's not like guaranteed or proven by DE, which made Warframe. You know, I can add more spread. Basically, this is just your personal, how you want to do it. I could add more puncture and impact, but you know, you don't have to. A lot of weapons will say have this shotgun has a ton of other stuff. The melee I'll show you in a second doesn't. So really adding extra things like that doesn't usually work out for most weapons.
I had a little bit to add on there. One of the reasons may be to particularly focus on a certain damage like slash, puncture, impact. If you start to focus on all three on certain weapons, it would be harder for a singular one to proc sometimes. Taking the Syndicate Tigris into effect, it does have, as you're putting it now, 900 impact, 900 puncture. Now, yeah, you'd probably see some procs on that quite often, but because the slash is already still super high than the other, you wouldn't really need to worry about it unless you started putting on the other mods, which wouldn't help you any. take the Cyberus, for instance, that has the same amount of damage on each one. So that'll be proccing all the same ones sometime. So if you were to put a puncture, impact, or slash on that to try and focus on one more of the time, you'll be seeing like more slash procs or more puncture procs, which would help you on depending on what enemy you go after.
The way to find out what enemies are weak to what is either to look on Google with the wiki, or if you go look at the front of the ship, it'll show you, and I'll show you there in a minute. Let me basically give you an how-to for crit weapons now. Now, hold on, let me clear out these numbers.
Well put together, operator. Now get out there.
Now, if you look at this weapon, its crit chance at base is 20%, which is good. That's where you want to start adding the things. Anything lower is just kind of like an uphill battle. So I'm going to add in my stance mod. All melees have a stance mod that will give them more slot. It went from 60 to 70. Now, with the exception to the Dark Dagger, that's the only melee in the game that does not have a stance that matches the polarity. I do not know why. Dark Dagger is another beast we'll get to later. Don't worry about it. It's the only one that's like that. So here we're going to start out with our base damages. I'm going to throw on my primed reach just because that's me. You can throw on regular reach if you want the weapon to basically hit things that are further away. Pressure point is your base damage mod. So all those numbers go up on the left when you add that. Now, since this is a crit weapon, the crit chance is up there. You want to increase the crit chance even more by adding a crit mod, which is true steel for melees. For each, pistol, primary, shotgun, they all have their own little, crit chance mod. They're all named something different. From that, my crit chance goes up to 32. There's probably a way to make it higher. I don't ever do that because, only reason why I'm adding crit to this, personally, is so I can get this Berserker to proc. Now you can add more crit damage if you want to with Organ Shatter, which makes it do more crit damage when you get that hit. Since this is a slash weapon, see, here's a perfect example. See, 28 for impact and puncture. I don't want to waste my slots on those, because what are they going to do? Nothing. Just take up space. So it's better to build up the slash. And right here is where some people argue to put on, your elemental mods. Now, you do not have to with this weapon. I think it's better to put things like Spoiled Strike on and to get more damage on it, or to put Jagged Edge to get more slash. I only get 343 viral. The status chance is 33. That's not that bad. But here it comes to your playstyle. It's up to you. Personally, I'm going to add Spoiled Strike, which lowers the attack speed a lot, but it brings up the damage 100%, like plus 100% on everything. If you want to get that speed back up there, you add a Fury. If you're not so worried about that speed and just want the last little bit of slash you can get, you can add a Jagged Edge to bring that slash over 1,000. If you don't want to add Organ Shatter to it, you can add the Fury there too. You can add Rending Strike to squeeze just the last little bit of slash you can out of it, but to be honest, that's really not worth it. It's mostly just up to you and your playstyle. If you want to hit as fast as you can with the weapon, I suggest that, because that last little bit of damage sometimes doesn't make as much of a difference if you can hit twice in the time you'd hit once. But I use fast melees unless I'm using Valkyr. Now, Valkyr's last ability, her Hysteria, uses your melee mods. So you would want to bring in a lot of damage and crit to get that berserker to go, so you can basically slash as fast as you want to till your heart's content, hammering that B button until it doesn't work anymore, which mine will probably be out of commission soon. So here we have how to mod a kubrow. I personally have formatted the crap out of my kubrow because I don't like having to pick my kubrow up when it goes down. Some people use sentinels, and I'll give you an idea on that too. But as for mods on this kubrow, this is the Sahasa type kubrow. It digs things up for you, which some people are like, oh wow, it digs things. But when you're running a high energy user, it's really helpful to have this kubrow that can dig things up. It digs up energy, it digs up ammo. So first I'm going to go with this Bite and Maul. Bite and Maul, and actually all other kubrow mods, drop from wild kubrows that you kill like out in the wild. Enemy radar is a nightmare mod, I believe, is the only way to get it, other than alerts when they come up. You might not even be able to get this from a nightmare, I'm not sure. You remember? It might be alert only. If you buy a high enough amount of plat, DE gives you one, but that's not the only way to get it, guys. You can buy it from other people in the market. Alerts come up. Now, since this is a Sahasa kubrow, it has its special mods. Now, they all come with these mods, and you have to rank them up. So I'm going to go ahead and put this Ferocity on. It gives my kubrow more finisher damage. And I'm going to put on Dig, which makes it dig my things up. Now, with kubrow and with sentinels, it's better to put what you want the dog or the sentinel to focus on first in the first slot. Since I want my dog to dig more than to take enemies down, I'm going to put Dig first. And I'm going to move this Bite over just because I like my gold mods to be above each other. That has nothing to do with modding. I'm just picky. Now, if you're using... Basically, if you keep your kubrows about the same from frame to frame, it's good. But if you're using a Warframe with very high armor, it's good to put this Link armor on. Now, once Inaros comes out, you don't want to have Link shields on your kubrow because Inaros has no shields. You will want to have Link health. Pack Leader is really good because if you're... this is how I personally keep my kubrow from going down in battle. I am strictly, for the most part, a melee user. I do not like to shoot things. My frame takes up too much of my screen, too much time aiming, where I could just go slap the thing and that's that. When you hit a kubrow, not a kubrow, my bad. You don't hit your kubrows. When you hit an enemy with a melee weapon and kill them, this mod actually will heal your kubrow for a percentage of damage that you did. So you get 36% when you max this mod out. You kill two things and you heal your kubrow for the 1000 health personally that mine has because of how much health Saren has. Shelter is a good mod for when you're reviving reviving allies. Enemies cannot shoot you as easy through its little productive dome it puts up. When you rank it up, the dome gets bigger, and I think it can take more damage. I'm not quite sure. I don't really use it personally, even though it took me forever to find one. Loyal Companion is good for those new players whose kubrow may go down a bunch, that aren't as used to the game. That's a bleed out link, which means the dog can take longer to need to be revived. Now, Scavenge opens up lockers. That's neat for a while. Personally, I don't have it on there anymore, but if you want it on there, throw it on there. Now, as you see up here, my kubrow has 3 stars, which means I have formatted my kubrow 3 times, which a lot of people think I'm crazy for, but kubrow, it's cute. What can I say?
You gotta breed it until it's perfect.
So that's basically how I've done my kubrow. This is the stuff I usually use. This last slot's empty, and it bugs me, so I'm probably going to form this dog one more time, but don't sigh at me. See, I have link shields on. I don't need it on, but it's on. It's all just about your personal playstyle once you understand how these mods interact with each other and what they do. Now I will show you for a sentinel. The best way to keep your sentinel alive through most of the mission is to not put its weapon on. And a lot of times when you're trying to go for your affinity bonuses, which for new players, that's the little thing that pops up when you spawn in each mission. It goes, get 30 kills, get 10 headshots, get 10 stealth kills, get this, that, or the other. That gives you more affinity towards your weapons, which is, you know, getting them higher rank. It's more XP. Do those. Sentinels can get in the... Kubrows can too, but, you know, they're cute, so I give them a pass. Sentinels, on the other hand, everyone I have likes to wait until the enemy's one shot, and then it kills them. After I spent all this time with whatever weak weapon I was using at the time, hacking their health down, it just, yeah, it makes me mad. So, for Sentinels, their redirection for their health and their shields and their steel fibers does not build off your warframes like the kubrows does. So putting a ton of rank into it, like I did with mine, before I realized what exactly was happening, because I was dumb, you know, this is a long time ago, when I first started playing the game. I was like, oh yeah, my stuff's gonna be invincible. Not really. You put on this redirection, you know, and it, you can't see the difference because it was up there. Anyway, it goes from having 100 to 275 shields, and I done lost my mod. Yeah. Now, if I add steel fiber, it's gonna give him more armor. Armor basically allows you to take some hits without it damaging you as much. The vitality's gonna give him more health. So personally, with this sentinel, it's better to rank up this health mod versus the shield mod, the armor mod. You know, the armor is useful, but this one has the most health. That's just for carrier prime. Now, I'm not carrier prime, carrier in general and carrier prime. Now his special mod is this vacuum, and if you want him to focus on picking up most, no, he kind of does it anyway, but just for rule of thumb, like with the kubrows, I always put the vacuum first. With other mods like Helios, if you want him to shoot less and scan more, you put the scan in the front. Now regen will have it revive one time. I sometimes use it, you know, sometimes it's just dumb, sometimes it makes me angry, so. Guardian is a very useful mod when your shields run out. It brings them back. Sanctuary provides a dome for when you're rezzing allies so that you can't get shot through, really. These things are kind of crap, so he just kind of has this little Y polarity. Sure, let's throw this on here. Now the self-destruct, fire it up, and things like that, they drop in the towers. I'm gonna put on Animal Instinct for that loot radar. Now Animal Instinct is the only mod that goes from Kubrow to Sentinel. It's the only mod like that. And then you can add their weapon, and then you know, adding mods to it works just like it did on the other weapons that I showed you earlier. You know, the crit chance, status chance. I don't mess with their weapons. So, you know, you just kind of mod it like you would any other weapon. And I think that's all I was gonna cover for this how-to mod video.